with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around with me. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to the show. I am excited to be back. For those who didn't know, I was a little under the weather, so had to take some time off. I still haven't quite recovered, but I wanted to get back on and see how everybody was doing. We will be doing the Saturday show, and tonight I wanted to do the Speak Pipe show and then do a tag in with the call-in show. So if you guys want to call in, I will be making that number available so folks can call in and we can have a slight conversation on. Kathy Ferran, what's going on? How you doing? Yeah, so that's kind of where I am. As I was explaining, I was a little under the weather. So hey, and team. What's going on? Yeah, I was going through it. I had some stuff. Don't want to get too much into it, but I just wanted to make sure I touch base with folks, see how everybody was doing. Like I said, we'll do the speak pipes because we did have some speak pipes that came in this week, and I'm going to make it available for folks to be able to call in. No sound. Can you guys hear me? Give me a one in the chat if you can hear my audio. Ruh-roh. Am I coming through? Okay. Thank you, Wendy. I was a little nervous. Yeah, Kathy, what's going on? I'm glad the prayers work for you. Yeah, I've been a little, I won't even say a little, well, I was on my ass. And I will say this, like, with, everything going on, it puts things into perspective for you, as you, you go through things, you go through life and stuff, and how you move forward with various things that are happening to you. You think, like, how is this affecting me and how will everything go forward? How is everybody going to make out? Blah, 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 blah. And one of the things that I noticed is that, when rubber meets the road, one of the things that I particularly focused on, not so much what was going on per se with me, but I would focus on, like, how if anything were to happen to me, how would it affect my kids or how would it affect my family? And one of the things that I think we get from watching examples like Sister Wives is that as we watch that show with Cody and seeing how he gets along with his kids or doesn't get along with his kids, it's the missed opportunities, because you're in a situation where you have the chance and opportunity to talk to and deal with your kids as you choose to. You can deal with your wives and your relationships as you choose to, because as far as I know, everybody's in good health, everybody's doing well, but when that choice is taken away from you, that's when I think you value the choice. It's kind of the back to the old adage of you never know what you have until you don't have it anymore. And I think that that's where a lot of the push for Cody to do better, for Cody to reach out for the kids, when people vanguard for that, he needs to get in touch with his kids. He needs to talk to his kids. He needs to try to make things right with his kids. I think that's where it comes from. The weird part is that Cody and even the OG3 and Robin, they take those observations, at least how I'm taking their interviews, they take those observations as personal shots. you know. So when somebody says that you'll miss this person when they go on, they see it as, oh, you're saying I'm not doing enough. You're saying I'm not a good person. You're saying that I should be doing better. I should be doing more. I should be this or that. And what folks are actually saying is they're trying to warn you against the inevitable. In life, things are going to change. Things are going to be different. That's what happens in life. Like as you get older, one of my favorite lines from there's a movie from Al Pacino, uh, and I forget the name of the movie, but he played a coach, and his big like rallying speech during halftime to get the team riled up. Any given Sunday, what's the name of the movie? And he said, as I get older, I just start losing things. You lose your hair, you lose your teeth, you find all the weight. You're losing the weight. You're finding all the weight. That's the only thing you're finding, right? You're losing friends, you're losing family. And when you're young or younger, you have the illusion that things will always be the way they are. You don't think about calling or reaching out to that special person or, family member or friends or, elderly people in your family because you're busy and you got things going on and, life is hectic and I'll do it tomorrow, but as, I guess I'm on a movie thing tonight. As they said in Rocky 3, Apollo till Sylvester Stallone's Rocky, I'll do it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There's today. There's right now. And so when we hear Cody talk about things, we hear him talk about it in regards to, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll worry about it tomorrow. I'll call them tomorrow. They'll be around tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about it today. Years from now, when we've had some distance, space, and time, then I'm going to reach out to my kids and I'll mend those fences then. But even with regard to like what just happened a couple years ago with Big G's, that's a shining example of why you might not be able to wait till tomorrow, because there might not be a tomorrow. There might not be a second chance or that time when it's convenient. So, I just think that that's one of the things we kind of focus on. But now that the room is kind of filled up a little bit, just wanted to give you guys a quick update. I am doing stuff. I'm not on screen today just because I'm still under the weather. So that's why I have my little avatar going. Still under the weather, still putting stuff together. I was supposed to go on Tuesday to do the call-in show. That was not possible for me to do it. Then I was like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna be a warrior and do it on Wednesday. Warrior Wednesday, yeah. And then Wednesday came, couldn't do it. So I'm here tonight, and we're gonna take care of a lot of stuff. We will be doing a Saturday show, the members meetup show, because I owe you guys one of those. But we're in chat tonight. Let me go to my thing real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's get some hearts in the chat for Ann Team. Said she had a loss, so I want to make sure we recognize that for her or for them. I don't want to say her, them. Just because, people go through things. She had mentioned that she lost her husband all of a sudden. And I think that that's one of the things that, like I said, one minute you up, next minute you way down. Life is not for the weak, baby. And getting old, damn sure ain't for the weak. But yeah, and the weird part is too, and I won't even say it's an age thing. because I mentioned before when I was a young man, me and my wife, we were first together, and it's many, many years ago. And we were doing a townhouse. We had a townhouse, little townhouse. And that was our first spot together. And we had this neighbor who lived down the street. Her husband, young strapping dude. He went off, he worked construction. He went to work one day. He had she was a stay-at-home mom. He had like 4 or 5 kids. He went to work and he was making decent money. Everything was going great. He was in fantastic shape. And he's working on the site. A hammer had fallen from the scaffolding and hit him right on top of the head and deuced him on the spot. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know. Like there's kind of that, and I think that that's one of the things that even when we talk about like Big G's, one of the big tragedies of it, especially as an older person, you look at a young person. Young people ain't supposed to pass away. You know, it's just not. It's not the natural order of things. You know, parents aren't supposed to bury their children. You know, young wives are not supposed to be widows. That's something that you know you usually try to think or confine to uh older people, but it's when you're faced with it, it becomes something different. But let's do. I will have to upload some of these. Dropping a ball, drop the ball. Um, just have to put my speak pipes in because I apparently was not ready. I can get them all in. Yeah, we don't have a lot came in, and it's probably my fault because, like I said, I missed last week, and I didn't do my Sunday show. I missed a lot of shows, man, a lot of shows. But you know, like I said, I was getting my ass kicked. Let's check out Rose. We're gonna go to Rose first.
Hi, James. This is Rose, your Canadian buddy. I just love your passion. It's awesome. um, yes, I agree with you. Fathers should take responsibility for their kids. But Cody wasn't responsible that day when it came to Truly. And he's not a responsible father. So I don't think Christine should have left Truly with him. And yes, if I was Christine, I would have come home to take over for Aspen. You know, that's Aspen shouldn't have had to deal with that. So that's part one. Um, Also, when it comes to the farm, one of your callers said that Tata Farms might not work out. I agree because how are they going to work that farm? They're going to have to hire workers. That's going to be expensive unless they get immigrant workers. And as we all know, that's not really happening right now. And what about Maddie's kids? Who's going to watch the kids? That's going to be a hard one with Caleb being sick and stuff. We'll see what happens, but I have another part coming. Bye for now.
Okay, just on the first part, you know, it's like Tata Farms is going to be difficult. Like it's not as easy as a mom and pop thing. If you plan on doing it big, it will require some help. It will require some hands. Just with logistics, it can be difficult because it's not just a matter of planting seed and harvesting flowers. There's also the marketing aspect, the selling aspect, the packaging aspect, deliverables, making sure that you're able to get the product to the customers on a timely basis, um, like the customer service end. And you know, this isn't a shot. This isn't a shot, and I'm not trying to criticize anybody or make people feel bad, but the reality of it is that I'm a big advocate of entrepreneurship. Um, going out, starting your own business and taking your fate into your hands and blah, blah, blah. I'm a big advocate of that. I try to talk to my kids and push them into doing it, try to get them to, give them the bug to, especially while they're young, to, if they want to pursue something and chase that dream themselves. But there's drawbacks to starting your own, having your own. Because the what folks tend to focus on when you think of entrepreneurship is, I'm gonna start a business, it's gonna be wildly successful. I'm gonna keep all the profit for myself because I'm gonna make all this money and it's gonna be incredible. And what they don't see is the work that goes behind it, the work before the success, the work when nobody's paying attention, the work when people are telling you that you're going to fail and they have no idea why you're even trying to do the thing that you're doing. And they don't believe in you until the thing that you're doing pops off and becomes very successful. Once you become very successful, then everybody stand in line, talk about how they knew you was always going to make it, how they had always supported you, how they was your number one, blah, blah, blah. But before that time, before that happens, it'll seem like you're the only person that believes in your dream. And another downside to entrepreneurship, aside from the lack of support, a lot of times, is the reality that not everybody is suited to be their own boss. Some people need, and this is not intended as disrespect. Some people need somebody standing over top of them, telling them, these are the deliverables I expect. These are the things you have to do. These are the things that have to get done in order for this to work, right? In order for the business to move forward. Now, you might be a fantastic facilitator, a person who can make those things happen, but you're just not a self-starter. You don't see the big picture. You don't see the full field, the full board. Another thing is that when you have your own business and you're a business, as Janelle would say, I'm a businesswoman. When you're a businesswoman, you have to be about your business. And sometimes when you're a business person, you have to be willing to stand in the breach by yourself. Why do you say that, James? Because you're an asshole. I say that because a lot of what I saw with Janelle gives me the impression that she is, and again, this is no disrespect to Janelle. Please don't take it as like I'm criticizing her. I'm trying to beat her down. But just from what I see with her personality, she avoids conflict. And she likes to do a thing where she has a group of people go along with whatever she's trying to do. So with that being said, you have a group of like you have like these wars by proxy or disagreements or discussions by proxy. So it's not enough that she goes to Cody and says, look, this is what we need to do with Coyote Pass. She got to go get married. She got to pull in Christine. She got to get a lawyer, and she's not willing to stand in the cut and have those hard conversations by herself. And that is, it makes you affable. To some degree, it can make you a fantastic employee, but it doesn't make you a strong boss. It doesn't make you a strong business owner, because business owners sometimes have to have difficult conversations. Bosses or supervisors, even when you work for somebody else, have to be willing and able to have difficult conversations with people that they work for them. You can't be a boss and then have somebody who is working in your whatever, and you're afraid to have a conversation with them and tell them what they're doing wrong or what they need to correct, if that makes sense. Or if you can't do something, you're able to stand there and tell them, I can't do it. So the farm thing kind of scares me a little bit. Rose had another point. Hold on one second.
Hi, James. This is Rose, your Canadian buddy. I just love your passion. It's awesome. Yes. I agree with you. Fathers should take.
Oh yeah, the whole thing with forcing Cody to watch the kids while they go off on trips. I understand that. Like, I'm gonna make him watch these kids. He gonna do his part. Unfortunately, sometimes you gotta. I get the desire to make him be a better parent by pushing him into the deep end, but we also have to take into account that the kids will be the one that suffer if he fails. Like, if he doesn't do well, it's not Cody. Maybe his ego and his pride will suffer, but it will be the children who suffer more. And I think that's something that we got to be careful about. You know, that's something that you got to be careful about. So I get why, Christine, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to go on girls trip because it's not fair that I'm here stuck with these kids all the time. And, fair is what you pay to get on a bus. And I agree. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not justice. But at the same time, you got to make sure your kids are okay. And Cody was not suited to watch those kids by himself. He just wasn't. He was not ready. He was not prepared. Wait, where's my what? Hold on one second. I got a second one from Rose. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Hi, James. Part 2 for Rose here. I have an idea. I'm thinking that you had mentioned that maybe Cody and Robin are expecting TLC to pay for Aurora's wedding. You know what I think they should do? They should say, sure, we'll pay for that wedding. However, Aurora has to invite all the brothers and sisters. They are family after all, and that is the condition. What do you think? I know, and if Aurora says, oh, the kids won't want to come, then they say, but we have proof that they want to see you, and show them the videos of Maddie and Leon talking, and of Garrison talking about missing them. That would be interesting to see that happen. What do you think? Bye.
Okay. I think that's pretty much how I envisioned it. When it comes to, like, just keep it in mind, like, this, even though the Brown family, for the most part, at least especially in recent years, they treat the reality show like it's home movies. Like, people are tuning in just because the Browns are so interesting and so wonderful that everybody wants to see what they're talking about and what they're up to. We're catching up with the Browns. Forget the Kardashians. We're keeping up with the Browns. But here's the thing. There has to be a business reason as to why they would do anything. I'm sure Cody has suggested every year since their big Hawaii trip that TLC pay for a family vacation. And TLC has most likely, because remember, in the first, I think it was like the first, or not the first season. I think it was by the second season, they paid for them to go to Hawaii as a huge family. They paid for everybody to go. And that's how everybody was able to get to Hawaii. But I'm sure Cody went to them every year, like, we need to go to Barbados. We need to go to Europe. The Browns in Europe. Need to do the backpack trails in Sweden. Try some of that Germanic beer. I'm sure they were pitching that to them every time. And Cody and the TLC would rightly look at that and say, well, what is the business excuse or business reason as to why we would do this show? There isn't one. Why would TLC broadcast not even a third tier cast member in Aurora's wedding? Why would they ever air that? Because we really don't know Aurora. There's no fan base buy-in with Aurora. We don't need to see her get married. The only thing that would add to the story is if the other kids, they did like the family reunion thing on more the positive side, watching the whole family come together and celebrate Aurora. And even in that episode, the drama will be Robin is taking the shit over, and this is her daughter, and everybody else got to take a back seat because she's gonna put her feet down, and Cody's gonna side with Robin, so that's gonna be problematic. On its face, that'll be your conflict. But otherwise, if everybody just shows up if nobody shows up to the wedding from the other extended Brown family, and it's just Robin and her kids, and maybe Aurora and her family, TLC has zero incentive to film that show. So it would have to, in my mind, it would have to involve the other wives as well as the other kids being present. The problem that you also kind of run into, just a little production note, is a lot of the kids don't want to be filmed anymore. So because the kids don't want to be filmed, you have big problems because you can't even show part of the show. Part of the draw for that show would be to watch the kids reunite with the other kids. But if the kids don't want to be filmed, like they'll go to the wedding, but they don't want to be filmed, that's a problem because TLC is like, we're not paying for a wedding that we can't film in toto and do interviews for in toto. Like we need to do confessionals. We got to have like the little side comments, maybe some B-roll with them going out to dinner or whatever, having conversations, maybe even addressing like the big Christmas phone call, etc., etc., etc. That's what TLC will be looking for. And I just don't see, especially with the mindset that I see a lot of the Browns entering into these last few seasons with, they don't have the mindset that they have to do anything. That, you know, I think they're kind of taking a fan base as well as the show itself for granted. But thank you so much, Rose. That was awesome. Let's give Rose a little something for her participation. Yeah, Danny Town said, what are they going to give us next season? Who's left? What's left? What are we talking about? There's nothing left. This show is bone soup. Or I wouldn't even say it's bone soup. This shit is stone soup. You put a stone in a pot of water, boil it, maybe, pick up some, whatever you can have in your cabinet, whether it's onions and carrots. Just throw it in a pot and then hope for the best. Maybe some seasons. Like, this is stone soup. This is bullshit. There's nothing left to talk about because nobody wants to talk about what's going on with them. They only want to show, like, they want to showcase their lives, like the right lifestyle of rich and famous, but they aren't that rich, and frankly, they aren't that famous. So I don't know. It's just not enough. Like, it's just not enough. And I get it. Like, they don't want to show their stuff off. Cool. But yeah, Kathy Franze has been on life support for 2 seasons. Yeah, this thing has been on automatic dumb shit. And then somebody even said, like, what I've been saying the whole time, like, the fact that they had, it's, for me, I always knew it was over, but I recognize that they recognize it's over. But when they made the big issue about the catfish in this last season, like, y'all know that shit is over. It's done data. when you pull up the catfish, something, even if worst case scenario, I've said this before, worst case scenario, worst interpretation, Mary was straight up cheating. Like, she was taking dude down. Like, she was banging this dude out like a hammer and a nail. Like, she was, you know what I mean? She was tearing him to pieces. Right? It was a real guy. Like, I'm saying, like, it's a real guy or a real person. Mary was doing her thing and full on cheat affair. Right? Just dirty nasty. It was 10 years ago, damn near, at this point. It was 10 years ago. She's no longer with the partner whom she technically would have been cheating on. Like, it's not, there, you could look back on it and be like, oh, it makes her a horrible person. Does it? I mean, cheaters and cheaters and cheater, but does it? Like, I'd be hard pressed to just hold that against Mary. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being weird about it, I guess. But I'd be hard pressed to be like, remember 10 years ago when you were cheating on your husband who was neglecting you? You terrible, horrible person, you. And you're not even with him anymore because it was like right before you cheated on him, you divorced him. So technically, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and that's what we're going to talk about like is new. Y'all have nothing to talk about. That's what that tells me. You have nothing to talk about. Yeah. And I agree with this too. We keep thinking someone will say something new, something we know if true, like Cody is even more abusive than we have seen. Like, that's the thing too. We're at a point now where we've kind of already, this is the stage of if you read a murder mystery novel, right? A whodunit, classic whodunit. We figured out who did it. And now, that should be within like the last maybe second to last chapter, you figure out who did it. Then you see the resolution in the final chapter. We're 4 chapters after that. That's what I feel like. Like this story has been over. The conflict has been resolved, but we're still just kind of milling about. Where are they going to work at now? Like, who, it's just weird to me. But let's go to another speak pipe. Hold on one second. Let's see. Oh, we have Mary.
Hey, James, this is Mary. Hey, I just want to tell you about a YouTube channel that I found that is just so interesting. They are called at Flat Tire Farm Homesteading Alaska. All one word. James, just wondering if you could feature them, maybe interview them. I have never met a more wholesome, down-to-earth couple. They are funny. They do the best at working together as a couple, as a team. Their house is not finished. I mean, you can see the Lowe's paper on the outside. They've just got it running well. They didn't have that. They still don't have inside running water. I don't think they do have an outhouse, but man, it's just this wholesome, wonderful couple. She makes and sells goat soap. I just think they're just wonderful human beings, and they're funny and just terrific people. Just wondering if you could take a look and maybe do an interview with them. It is just fantastic watching them. Every day is interesting. They make a Costco run, in Alaska, and that's a trip all to itself. But I'll just see what you might interest you. But
yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll see if they want to come on for sure. I don't mind having conversations at all. It'd also be kind of nice to talk to somebody who has more of a stable relationship as opposed to the disaster, which is the Brown family, domestic disasters, which is the Brown family. So yeah, I'll definitely check them out. But thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, there's a guy. Who was it? There's a guy I used to watch just because it was crazy. Like, he's in Alaska too. Hey, hold on a second. I got to look it up because I don't want to say it's. his name wrong. But the Outdoor Boys, this dude, a digger, like he'll go out in the middle of nowhere, like trek through the snow miles and miles away from civilization. And he will set up camp and spend the night. And this dude be building like he builds like these igloos and these shelters. It's so crazy. So it's interesting. It's crazy as hell though. Like I'll sit there and watch this dude build a shelter out of nothing. Like he'll dig it down. He'll set like a fire, cut like trees to create like a firewood, create like himself a little bed. Then he'll burn the stuff and move the ashes over so the ground will be warm where he's gonna lay it. Like it's so crazy. It's interesting, but it's crazy. Because I look at that stuff like that is so amazing. I would never do that shit. Like if the grid go down, my man is gonna be fine. I'm in trouble. He's gonna be okay. I'm in trouble. I recognize that. My man, he's the man. I will be done. But let's go to Mary part 2.
Hey James, this is Mary again. The reason that I want you to feature this couple is I just think their strong work ethic, their devotion to each other, and them working together as a team. It's just reality, and interesting reality in that this is how they are able to make things work in just a horrible, what we would think a horrible atmosphere, but they have a love of the land that is undeniable. But I think talking to this couple at Flat Tire Farm, let me get that name again, Flat Tire Farm Homesteading, Alaska, I think just seeing something different and real about how does a real couple work together and make their dreams come true in a little bit different place than most of us can imagine. But take a look. Let me know what you think. I just think it is just like a real welcome change. I watch their videos and it just makes me feel so good. But anyway, up to you.
Okay. Like I said, those are kind of the probably the heart healthy additions. Yeah, the heart healthy version of being able to do this kind of thing. Just because you got to balance it. Like I think that's one of the weird things too about some of our advances as far as technology is concerned with the algorithm. Like you're able to watch all the stuff you want to watch, and so it's all candy. And the things that, ironically, it's not even so much things that you necessarily agree with or things that you love. The algorithm also heavily pushes things that you don't like. Because if you sit there and you watch somebody you disagree with and you watch their whole video, the algorithm will find more videos like that. Because they don't care whether you like it or don't like it. It's are you watching it? And I think that's, it's always good to try to promote positive things as best we can, because the negative things get so much attention and so much light. And, it's kind of like the reason why was the Brown family successful? But like the My Five Wives show failed. Why did the Browns work, but they couldn't make the other My Five Wives show work? Because Brady, I think, actually was trying to make it work with his other wives. He was trying to be more equitable. Whereas Cody was just doing what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. And I think that was kind of the big drawback. But let's go to Mary part 3.
Hey, James, this is Mary. Hey, SpeakPipe, I don't know if this is public service or call it what you would like, but given that Nancy Guthrie is still missing and she hasn't been found, and that she is so well hidden, not even the FBI can find her, I do not agree with Maddie and Janelle giving full 360 views of the inside of their new houses. I just think it's quite irresponsible. And to be honest, I do not want anybody in my neighborhood, anyone in anywhere near me, to know which room I sleep in, what room is my living room, what room is my kitchen. Anyway, just wondering if you could speak on to safety. And my other thing I think we should all advocate for is something like Life Alert for our elderly family. I know there's other cheaper versions out there with different names, but I just think if Nancy could have pushed a button that was hanging around her neck, maybe none of this would have ever happened. But hope everyone's safe. Hope everyone's well. Thanks. Bye.
Well, to add on to something that Mary brings up, which I think is a great point, it's a little weird to me. And I appreciate the fact that, Janelle's trying to share something that's going on with her. Like I saw the house, and it's a nice house. It's a nice looking house. The one thing I would say, though, is that somebody who is receiving death threats, it might not be a good idea to document the layout of your house. Just a suggestion, just off top. Something that just struck me. Like, that might not be the best move. Okay. And it's a weird thing for me. Just because I've had the opportunities, especially when I, younger, as a younger person, to where I was exposed to popularity, notoriety early on. And so I always valued, by being exposed to that, I always understood kind of what it was, and I valued my privacy. And that's why I partly say I would never do a reality show, because I value my privacy. And I can compartmentalize. So I don't mind being the craziest dude in the party. The party starter, out dancing, acting a fool, talking loud, singing songs, bringing it home at karaoke, whatever. I'm that guy, right? But when I come home, my home is my place of peace. It's my place I go to resign away from the world, to retire from the world, to rest, to gather myself. And it's a very private place. So, like, even in the house that I have now, I don't even say the house I have now. The homes that I've shared with my wife, we were never big party people, where we just had cars and rows of cars and stuff show up to the house, and just everybody walking through our house. I remember when I first moved into the house, the first time I moved into this particular house I'm in, I gave everybody, like, people wanted to come down and see the house. I kind of broke my rules a little bit, but I gave everybody a year, like, from the time I moved in. And if you were close enough to me to where I invited you over the house, and I was like, gonna give you the grand tour and show you around, I did that all within the first year. After that year was up, nobody goes past the second floor. Like, you don't go up into the bedrooms and stuff, unless you get invited to the bedrooms. Like, obviously, if my kids have somebody over, they want to go to their rooms or whatever, that's their business. That's fine. Door open, but that's fine. But I don't have people just walking around my house, up in my bedrooms and things like that, because just a real practical sense for me, I've always been that person that you don't need to know the layout of my house, what I got in every room of my house. You don't need to know what my bedroom looks like, where I lay down with my significant other. You don't need to know what that looks like. And because a short shot way that, you know, somebody get me in trouble. If you could come and tell my wife what my bedroom looked like you been there, like the layout and how it's laid out and what's on the walls and all that, then you got my ass because nobody knows what my room looked like. You understand what I mean? Like we're like that. So I always kept that. I always felt like there's some things that you should be able to keep to yourself. And I've always been content. One of the things I try to push to my kids, and like I remember it being on Facebook, back when I was on Facebook heavy, they used to have a thing like you could have this big, beautiful house, or you could have these awesome cars. Would you be able to do it if nobody could know where you live? Me, absolutely. In fact, I would prefer it, especially if I had like a big time multi-million-dollar mansion home, right? On the side of a mountain or, beach views or whatever. I don't want people to know where it is because I wouldn't want to get kidnapped. People thinking I got money. I don't have money. I just got a nice house. You know what I mean? So I've always been private that way. But yeah, it is I think it is a safety concern. I appreciate them trying to be open. It's just weird to me that you will open your home, but you won't talk about issues that are affecting you. But you'll walk people around your house. This is where I sleep at. This is where my kids gonna be at. I don't know. But that's a good point. And yeah, checking on the elderly people in your life, life alert, those type of things can be valuable, especially sometimes as people get older. Just as a forewarning, you might have to have some patience because they might click the damn life alert by mistake, and you start getting phone calls. You got to start tracking people down. Just be ready for it. But I had a cousin who had fallen down some steps, and the way he fell, he was hurt significantly. Like he was hurt bad, and he laid there. He was a younger guy too. I think he was at the time he was in his 40s. And he laid there until people like found him like a few days later, laying there on the ground. Like they, called him and he wasn't answering. They went over, they keyed in, and there he is in a heap on the ground, and he didn't move. And so he had to learn how to he had partial paralysis, and he had to learn to walk and stuff again because of the way he landed and the way like the circulatory systems were compromised because of the way he was laying. But if he had a life alert, so it's not necessarily just for old people. If you don't have people, if you live alone, that's something to be concerned about, or at least be mindful of. You could be getting out of the tub. People kill themselves every year. Like, it's funny to me that Christine used to talk about toasters. Oh, the toasters kill more people than sharks. That's true. But you know what kills most people? Falling in the bathtub. So you gotta, if you live by yourself, it might behoove you to look into something like that. But that's my take. Hold on a second. Let me just check something. Hey, Rose. Yeah. TLC is notorious for showing street views for all the cast of their shows. It's insanely easy to find out where pretty much anyone on that channel lives, get shots of whole houses and neighborhoods. Yeah, this is actually how Quiet as It's Kept. This is how a lot of us, even in the YouTube verse, get a lot of our official documents to be able to tell you like who bought what, when and where, how much they paid for it. Through public record requests and things of that nature, because TLC pretty much gives you the address. So, like, it's there is a danger to that, and because some people, no, I think I talked about it in one video I put out before there are fans who watch the show and they go through the emotional roller coaster of watching the show. And once the TV goes off, they go on about their lives. There are other fans who take this shit personal and they will get on a plane, a train, or automobile and go out to these locations and try to confront some of these cast members. And so that's something that I think TLC has to start being more mindful of. And as bad as it is, I hope they're not going to start being mindful of it after something happens, because that's kind of the trend that TLC kind of rolls with. Like something real bad will happen, and then they'll say, "Oh, we got to fix it," or it makes us look terrible, and then they start trying to fix it. And there's some problems you can fix before it actually becomes a problem. But we have Anan. Let's check her out.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time sending SpeakPipe in. I've been watching.
Oh, first SpeakPipe. Let's give her a little something, something. Hold on one second. First SpeakPipe. Let us continue.
For a really long time before you've been doing lives. I've been watching your videos. So I just want to say I'm a big fan, and I don't really comment much in the on the lives or and stuff, but I am there watching and loving everyone's takes and commentary. But I just want to say I just watched an interview with McKelty and Tony with Sarah Fraser, and she said that when Robin came into before Robin came into the family, they weren't allowed to play with dolls, like Barbie dolls, and like it was not allowed. And she said when Robin came in, she was not okay with that. She put her foot down and she bought Barbie dolls for not only her kids, because they already played with them, but she bought Barbie dolls for like the other girls in the family. And she put her foot down about it, like she was adamant about buying it. And what's funny to me is that Cody keeps saying how obedient she is, but she sounds like the most disobedient wife out of all his wives. Like all of them followed the rules, did everything. And then there's Robin, who comes into the family, puts her foot down about dolls, and she's the most obedient and gets the most loyalty. It's insane.
I agree that it's crazy, but I think that, and this is going to be kind of jacked up, and I recognize this, but I don't think it's any less true. When you look at this situation with the OG3 and Robin, I kind of take this, and I'm sure the OG3 would all disagree with me, but this is my interpretation, my take, so I don't give a shit. Robin was Cody's partner. They were around Cody. They dealt with Cody. They were with Cody. But at the end of the day, Robin was Cody's partner. So when Robin could come in and make suggestions, she could put her foot down, she could demand things, and Cody would adhere to those things, because at the end of the day, Robin was Cody's partner. Not just a wife or whatever. She was his partner. She is his partner. The reason why the other wives don't enjoy that same privilege of being able to go and express themselves is because at the end of the day, they are not Cody's partners. Cody doesn't respect their opinions. So it didn't matter whether they got along or they agreed or whatever. Robin is giving credit for being submissive, because when push comes down to shove, Cody has a huge blind spot when it comes to Robin, because Robin is his partner. And and for me, this is just reaffirmation of a point that I made before with regard to some of these relationships. At the end of the day, it does not matter how much you give to somebody, how much you sacrifice for somebody, how much you love them, how committed you are to them, how loyal you are to them. What matters is how, it matters to you. Those things should matter to you because that's your character, that's your integrity. And that's how you present in relationships, how you act in relationships. I'm not diminishing that. But please don't misunderstand that and think that any of those things matter with regard to how somebody values you. How they value you is how they value you. And you can't determine for them what's valuable and what's not. So if he's like Cody's okay with Christine marrying Janelle, making all kinds of sacrifices so they can make it happen, so that they can survive, and he could have nice things and he could do nice things and he could be the man of the house, and they're making all these sacrifices, putting in extra time at work, so on and so forth, and he does these things. That doesn't necessarily translate to Cody recognizing the sacrifices that they made. In fact, it may lead to a circumstance or situation where he actually starts to take those things for granted. He starts to take for granted that this is what they're supposed to do. Then Robin comes in and she does the exact opposite, and she's the most prized possession he ever had, and she's the most valuable wife who's always loyal, because at the end of the day, that's how he sees her, and she provides value to him, and you can't judge your value off of his valuation of another person. And I think that that's where it kind of gets twisted. But let me know what you got. Let me know what you think. Anon, good point. But I just wanted to make that very clear. Like, I think that that's one of the things I had been saying early on is that, I said that the OG3, I know I caught some flack. Some people didn't like it when I said the OG3 were basically his baby mamas. But I mean, it is what it is. They were side chicks. They weren't his, he was with them first. It don't matter. It don't matter. Because they're not the ones he committed to. Like, I wasn't my wife's first boyfriend. So I'm her first husband. I'm not her first boyfriend. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like my status as her husband is the same as the guy she dated before me. That's not a thing. And just because they were first, that doesn't decrease or diminish my standing in this relationship. And it's the same thing with Cody. Like, he was with Mary, Christine, and Janelle for 20 plus years. He saw Robin, got with Robin. Robin is the woman that he committed to. Robin is the one he paired off with. Robin became his partner. So Robin was the one that he was investing in. Oops. That's just, it is what it is. But so Robin was his wife. The other three women, not so much. I mean, he might have called him or referred to him that way before, but once Robin came into the picture, it was clear who the wife was. Let's go to Anon 2.
Sorry, this is just a part 2 about that, but it's just funny to me because it's like she comes in, she says, "Oh, I followed the rules. I just wanted to I had my cap in hand and all this shit." And it's like, no, you changed the rules about the doll thing, the ear piercing thing. You guys are celebrating holidays you've never celebrated before, which, I mean, they're super religious. I'm sure that's a huge deal, but obviously Cody doesn't give a shit because that's his favorite wife. But it's like, stop spewing this narrative that the other wives' marriages didn't work out because they didn't obey and they didn't follow the rules, when literally Robin did not follow any rules and was the most disobedient wife to Cody. And I'm saying disobedient with quotation marks, like the most disobedient wife to Cody, yet she gets all the praise and she's like this most amazing woman. I'm just so sick of it. Just say what it is, you guys. You didn't like your other wives and you just liked Robin, and it is what it is. You just need to say that. You don't need to keep saying all this shit about, oh, the other wives were this and they were not listening to me and blah blah blah. Like, enough. I'm so over it. Just be honest with yourself.
All right, you know what? I second that emotion. I second that damn emotion. How about that? Because when push comes down to shove, I think the most offensive part of the Cody Robin relationship saga is the lack of not the lack of transparency, the lack of honesty. Like if Cody would have came, in my opinion, he would still be categorized a piece of shit. But at least you wouldn't say he was a dishonest piece of shit. If he would have came to the wives after experiencing Robin, and he came to the wives and he said, you know what, ladies, when I was dating you, and this is something that, it's a shame that it took him this long to figure this shit out. But this is something that, you discover early on. The difference is in your relationships that you have, the depth and breadth of the relationships that you have. You recognize in grade school when you walking around, that's my girlfriend. That's my girlfriend. Y'all just sitting around holding hands, maybe, right? Or, or you just call each other these names that, you recognize that when you have that relationship versus when you get in high school, it becomes more serious. You recognize that relationship is deeper than the ones you had when you were younger. Then you get into college around like your early 20s and you say, whoa, when I was in high school, I thought that person was the one. But now that I've experienced more about life and more, real relationship dynamics where I didn't necessarily have to rely on my parents and we didn't have those kind of safety nets. And we move on into like bigger life issues and we're actually having real conversations and things that happen during the course of the relationship are more impactful. Then you realize that relationship that you had in high school wasn't it. And then even then you might move on. And then when you meet that one person who does for you the thing that you didn't even, they do for you all the things that you dreamt about. And in fact, they do more for you than you ever thought you knew or thought you needed, thought you knew that you needed. So they're exceeding your expectations. And you say that person's the one. And you recognize that that's going to be the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. There is a difference in those relationships. And it doesn't matter how good or bad those previous relationships were and how awesome they were as boyfriends or girlfriends. When you actually hit that person, you meet that person, none of that shit matters. And I would have respected Cody if he would have been with Robin and said, you know what? By being with Robin, I see now that what I have with the OG3, although special, isn't the same thing. And I don't feel about them the same way I feel about her. And if he was honest, not only with himself, but honest with these women, and he didn't drag them along and drag them out and be deceptive or lie to them and tell them that he was committed to a relationship he wasn't committed to, and moreover, try to gaslight them into thinking that they were the ones failing the relationship when he wasn't even participating in the relationship. If he would have recognized that early on and called those relationships off, then nobody would, I don't think he would have got as much pushback on Robin. But where the pushback comes in, where people don't like Robin, where people disagree with that relationship, is because Cody is sitting there trying to play the victim, trying to play that, oh, I was in love with these other women, but they didn't know how to act, and putting it on them. You didn't want to have a relationship with them. If you just admit it, then you'll be in a much better situation. That's my opinion. But let's go to Ann.
Hi, James. This is Ann. I'm not sure if you're still doing these videos or recordings, but I just
Yes,
wanted to
I
give
am.
my quick take on Sister Wives. I saw Mary's interview with Notes to Self last week, and she still didn't say much of anything, because one of the questions that her husband, Corey's husband, was filtering to Mary was along the lines of, why isn't she like telling her story more, or like giving a more detailed explanation if the show is not allowing her story to fully come out. Then her response to that was, she's like under contract, so she can't say anything. Well, if you're on a show, honey, you have to give us something to watch. It doesn't necessarily have to be drama, but it still has to be enticing for the audience. And this show hasn't been enticing or fun for a very long time. And then something else was along the lines of she was deconstructing polygamy and the rules before the show started. So that means that you were lying. You and the family were lying to us this whole time. But Mary and Janelle come across of polygamy is still great and they're still gung ho on this religion or cult. But yet they are not going for a polygamous relationship right now. They both want to be a monogamous relationship. So how great is polygamy?
Mm. Yeah, that kind of gets into which side is the bread butter, though. They're known for the polygamy stuff, but they don't want to participate in it. It's all about a money grab. Yeah, though I'll say this. I saw the interview with Mary and Mel and Corey from Notes to Self 444. I think it wasn't a bad interview, but the problem I have is that they do these interviews, the cast members, they do these interviews. They don't say anything. They try to dismiss it to, I'm not saying anything because I'm under contract with the show. But clearly you aren't giving them anything either. And they have to poke and prod and pry shit from you during the course of the interviews and the couch stuff. The reason why Jen was on the couch with Mary is because Jen was putting a battery in Mary's back to make for good TV. Because Mary she dismisses everything, or she doesn't want to talk about it, or she doesn't want to elaborate on things. So it's not the fact that you're under NDA or you have these documents signed. It's just that you don't want to talk about it. And you want to be a private person. I get it. I said I'm a private person to a degree. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm not drawing a check from a reality show either. So, I mean, I think that that's part of the issue, you know. But we got a birthday in the house. Linda, what's going on? How you doing? Give Linda some hearts in the chat for a birthday. Happy birthday, Linda. But yeah, I just, I was gonna comment on it, but part of the reason why, and again, this is no offense to Notes to Self. I mean, you can only get what they give you. But during the course of that conversation, I didn't really feel like there was a whole lot to comment on. Like a lot of the stuff that they talked about, they had already, Mary has, covered in Mary's own way in previous interviews and discussions. They talked a little bit about polygamy and the evils of polygamy, but the way it was framed for the most part is that it becomes more academic than personal applied. So when they talk about, like, for instance, when the Browns talk about how polygamy doesn't work, it becomes more, it doesn't work in our small environment and our small test case, but it could work. It's viable. These are one-offs where it doesn't work. And even when they say the big grandiose, oh, it doesn't work, I don't think anybody is happy. But I know people who are happy. I know people who are living it. And there's always kind of that disclaimer. So, and they would say, but James, life isn't black and white. Life is gray, or it has different shades. I agree with that. But you know what isn't necessarily gray or vague or opaque? Having principles. And one of the things that I struggle with watching the show is that I don't see a lot of principles at work. Because we talk about, like, Cody and the family. What's the family? What's the big picture? But none of that matters because it only the big picture in the family argument is on a sliding scale. It depends on who you're talking about, what you're talking about, and how it affects Cody as to whether it's valuable, important, or whether it should be focused on. Those aren't principles. So that I think that's what we're kind of missing in this whole show. You know, like there's no moral, like Cody talks about there being a moral compass. In order for somebody to have a moral compass, you have to have a true north. Meaning no matter, you know, you go this way, this is north. And I don't see that. Everything is relative on this show. It depends on who did what to whom will determine whether it's good or bad. So, but let's go to Ann 1.
Hi, James. This is Ann. I'm not sure if you're still doing.
Oh, wait. Ann 2.
Hi, this is Ann again. A quick part 2. Again, I'm just curious as to why the show isn't pushing for Mary and Janelle to join another polygamous family, especially with both of them saying they still believe in the religion. The show was pushing for Cody and Robin to get another woman to join their relationship, join their family, but not Janelle and Mary. And 2, I would like for the show to define who is the family. We know the people who, watch your show, but I think most of the audience, they don't know who the actual family is. And I think the show should define that. And a quick one too, my last point is regarding the catfish. I don't know if I missed this when all of that was going down with the catfish, but why did Mary have to confirm with Robin and her folks that the catfish was a real person? Because it's not like this person was helping Mary paint the house, do gardening. She met this person online and she was looking for intimacy. Robin and Mary weren't girlfriends who was like, hey, I have somebody I want to hook you up with. They were all intertwined in their own big polygamous family. So what was the reason for Mary confirming whether or not the person was real or not? And Robin is intertwining and helping with that.
To go in reverse order. Oh, excuse me. Hold on a second. Okay. The reason why the whole validation becomes an issue for Mary and the catfish is this. Mary met this person online. They comment on, like, they will watch the show, or they will watch, like, Mary will watch. This is because this is early on. Mary and the other sister wives will watch the show, and they will get on Twitter and start responding to fans. Like, they had way more interaction with the fans back in the day. That's kind of what built the brand up too, that you don't get now. That's one of the things that they're missing. It's connection to the fans. Now they've separated themselves from the fans because apparently we're all peons, and why would you want to be associated with peons? But they separated. They used to contact people all the time. How the catfish person was able to register with Mary is that they had made comments on Mary's Twitter account, and those comments were she started responding to those comments. It should be noted that in some cases, because you make a comment, if you're friends with somebody, you guys share friends, it'll be noted that you guys share friends. So that very well may be, that's something that, Mary has never talked about or said, but that could have went into, in my mind, that potentially could have been one of the things that also greenlit Mary to talk to the catfish, is that if she's friends with Robin and or one of Robin's friends who she is familiar with, then she might have felt more comfortable in talking to this person. But in any event, what they have confirmed is that Robin's friend, when there was a question as to whether the catfish person was real, because as Mary's having these conversations, you start hearing shit that's like just too good to be true. And he's amazing and blah, blah, blah. And he's a wonderful person. He has his own business. He's tall. He's rich. He's handsome. He's young. He has all these things and blah, blah, blah. And Mary is starting to question whether it's too good to be true and whether he's a real person or not. You need the person to come back. You need somebody to come in and verify that he's actually a person. And that's the role that Robin's friend played. She verified to Mary that this catfish person was a real person because they've seen him and they met him in person. So by having that validation, you think that, okay, well, if he's real and this is the relationship as it is, and I'm starting to fall for this person, then I'm okay, I'm safe. And that's one of the things that makes it disingenuous. Do I think she confided in Robin's friend Kendra and told her all the haps and the snaps and everything that was going on? No. But, you know, if she told her, like, you know, she's inquiring, oh, you're friends with this person. What are they like in real life? I mean, they seem like awesome online, but they can't be true. And you're looking for that person to validate it and say, no, they're real. That's how they live their life. They're millionaires. Oh, for real? And you go back to doing your sneaky shit. So, do I think that Mary necessarily started the relationship looking for a romantic partner? The easy answer would be no. The real answer is maybe. And I say maybe just in the sense that when you, especially women, I think that women are, and this is very general, but in my experience, women know whether you are bedroom eligible. We'll say it that way. They know whether you're bedroom eligible. That doesn't mean necessarily they're going to act on it or that you guys are going to be messing around or doing anything. It's just that when they meet you, they, I can see that. I can see that happening. And Mary meets this guy, even though she's married, you know, the temptation of it all. She meets this very handsome man who's supposed to be financially successful. He's emotionally available. And he's all the things that she says she wants for herself. Now, a wise person and a person who's trying to protect your relationship, that if you meet somebody like that, like, if, you know, well, James covenant rule number 1, if you meet somebody and you know they checking boxes for you, that person don't get phone calls. You don't meet with that person. You don't DM that person, right? Because they checking boxes for you. And that's how you keep from making mistakes. Because you know, right amount of liquor, right amount of wrong decisions, and you making mistakes. You making life-altering mistakes. So the best way to do that is leave it alone. There's some people who think they could, you know, skirt the edges. Oh, he just a friend. She a friend. That's my buddy. No, we cool. We go back like, you know, Ajax. You know what I mean? All that other stuff. And the next thing you know, you waking up apologizing. So, in light of that, I think Mary saw this very handsome guy who was very successful. She started talking to him. She, you know, he'll be my cute friend. And maybe I'll hook him up with one of my other friends. And she just never got to that second part with hooking him up with anybody. And as she started to talk to him more and liking him more, then you need that other person to come in and say that, yeah, this is real. And that's what Kendra did for her. So that's why that was so important. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I think, but again, I think that was I think it was a setup. Yeah, I think the whole shit was a setup. Because even to Wendy's point, Wendy has said, amazing how these catfish fishing is so perfect, yet they can never find a mate. Yeah, it's a weird thing that like catfish people, gorgeous, physically gorgeous, right? Amazing, amazingly good looking. Personality out this world, 10 out of 10. Personality, right morals, right ethics, say the right things, fantastic sense of humor, and they never have nobody. Like catfish never like, oh, I'm in a relationship right now. They don't even do the shit where it's complicated. They wide open. It's your lucky day, right? And that's usually not how it works. Usually, what happens is, especially you remember back when you single and stuff, you meet somebody and you hit it off with them, and you find out they got a boyfriend or a husband. You're like, damn. If only I had met you 3 months ago, 2 years ago, this could have been a love connection. But you with somebody, so I'm out. But yeah, the catfish are always single. But here's the thing. Catfish work because at the end of the day, they always tell you the thing that you always wanted to know. Right? They don't tell you the bad shit. They tell you they become the perfect person for you. So they don't come to you as who they are. They come to you as the perfect person that you want them to be. And that's the magic of the catfish. When you enter into most relationships, and I wanted to do a video on this, but I was too wiped out. But when you come into a relationship with somebody, there are really two types of people that you'll go into a relationship with. You'll go into a relationship with a person who is a whole person. They are who they are. And you have to figure out if you want that person in your life. Then you have more of an adolescent level relationship, no matter how old you are sometimes, where you have a person who wants to be in a relationship with you and they become the person that you need them to be in order for you to accept them in that relationship. And I think the catfish kind of fall more or emulate more that second tier where they become the thing that you want. So if you are a person who is getting catfished, if you say, when I get with somebody, it's just me and that person, and our commitment has to stand up and stand strong, then they will stand up and stand strong with you. And they'll be there with you. And they'll be committed to you. And when they with somebody, there's nobody else in the world. Because that's what you say you want. But at that same person, that same catfish, if they come out and say, you know what? I like swinging all day long. I like swinging like I'm at the park. That's my thing. That's my, what do you call it? That's my love language. Watching my woman be pleasured by another man. That's my love language. Right? Then that catfish will become that thing. I feel the same way. I couldn't imagine just being in a relationship with one person. That's stupid. That's what catfish do. They just become the one thing. They become everything that you want. So there's, and in part of that too is there's no disagreements. Usually with catfish, there's no disagreements, no arguments, because they're too busy and agreeing with every damn thing you say. And they play on your, to a degree, they play on your insecurities because they become the thing that you want. They don't push against you. They don't challenge you in any way, and they just kind of go along. And one of the things with that is, what's the purpose of having a partnership? Like from where I'm at, and this is one of the things I criticize, Cody's leadership for, is that what's the purpose of having a relationship? Because the OG3 basically were the second tier of that relationship. They weren't being accepted for who they were. They were trying to conform to be with Cody, to conform and become the people that Cody wanted them to be, so they could be with him. Robin came in on the first tier. This is who I am. You have to accept me for what I am and what I do and the things I want to do and how I want to do them. And that's why I think their relationship is stronger than the other three women. Frankly. You know, that's why. Because Cody accepts Robin. He never accepted the other three wives. He accepts Robin, though. He accepts who she is. And he chooses to be with that person. With the OG3, he chooses to be with the people that, if they can pretend to be the people that he accepts and he wants, then he'll be with them. He'll choose to be with those people. But those people aren't necessarily who the OG3 actually are. And I think that's just kind of how it worked out. All right. But yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting topic. Hold on 1 second, guys. I wanted to do a little bit of a call in. I think I'm gonna do a call in tomorrow because I'm kind of winding down a little bit. But Daisy Reyes, the other three wives are out of convenience. Yeah. As long as they conveniently be the women that he wanted them to be. If they step out of line, they start you trying to think with your own mind? You trying to go against me? And they got problems. And I think that's just kind of how it worked. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in. I know it's kind of last minute. I popped in everybody's thing the last minute. But hopefully I'm on the mend. I definitely feel better than I have over the last week. You know, still getting back together, getting back up, but definitely feel better than I have over the last week. Like I was a little down this morning, but I'm back up a little bit. But yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to shoot for tomorrow at maybe a noontime show, and we'll do a call in then, and then of course we'll do the Saturday show, like the member show roundtable. So you're more than welcome to join that. And we'll have a good time with that. But yeah, just so yeah, just so we're on that same page. What's this? Let me see something. Wendy said something. Oh, is it? That's true, James. Linda from Minerva. That's true, James. Cody made a statement that he liked that Robin was demanding. He didn't say it that way, but that's the gist of it. Yeah. Well, because what I was saying, and I lost track of my thoughts. But for me, that's one of the things that I enjoy about like when people talk about like they miss companionship or they want companionship, or you see somebody married for 20 years and they either get a divorce or somebody passes away, they get back into another long-term or long-term relationship or another marriage, more serious commitment with another person. Say, why would you do that? Because you just got out of one. The whole reason why is because of the partnership that you get, the partnership and the fellowship you get within the confines of that relationship. Not saying you have to get married, to be very clear, or it's for everybody, but there is a part that is attractive. Like even when I hear young men, because I was one of them young men, I ain't never get married. Man, I'm gonna be a bachelor to the day I die. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep doing my thing. But when you are in a partnership, you recognize the value of that partnership, right? And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, my relationship is perfect and all that. because it's not. There's no such thing. And I wouldn't even argue or posit that, you know, my wife is perfect. Because again, there's no such thing. But she's perfect for me. Like, she's good for me. Maybe she wouldn't be good for everybody else. The guys she dated before, they would probably disagree. But for me, it works for me. And one of the things that I would look for in those relationships is that I always want to be with somebody who would challenge me or push me in some way. Because I think relationships, you know, if, you know, I don't say done right, but if you know, one of the big positives in being in a relationship is that if you have somebody who just doesn't support you, but somebody who, or pushes you, but somebody who encourages you to want to be better for them. It's not just the fact that they're pushing you, I got to be better for her because this is what she expects, but it's the fact that I want to be a better person, a better man, a better partner to honor the relationship I'm in as gratitude for being afforded the ability to be in that relationship. And I think that when you have somebody who you can accept as a whole person, you're with that person and you're dealing with that person, and this is your person because you see all of them, you know, good parts, bad parts, positive flaws, you see all of it, you accept all of it, and you love despite of some things, right? Then what happens is you find yourself in a situation where your relationships feel more complete. However, if I have requirements like Cody was doing to Mary, you got a whole list of shit that somebody got to do, and they got to check certain boxes in order for you to even consider yourself being in a relationship with that person, then that relationship doesn't mean anything. It's not valuable, you know, because your relationship and your attraction to that person starts and stops at their ability to be able to execute the cosplay role that you put up for them. So if they can no longer pretend to be that thing for you, like they, you know, I want a girl who gonna be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. I want a nasty nurse. I want all that. And the second she says, you know what, I'm not about that. That's not my thing. I don't want to be a nasty nurse. I want to be the corrupt cop, whatever, you know, whatever role play twist you got, right? That's what I want to be. I want to be the stranger in the bar. Whoa, that's ridiculous. You know, it only works as long as they're the person that you want them to be. And OG3 with Cody, their relationships only worked as long as the women pretended to be the people that Cody wanted them to be. The second they start trying to, like Christine, I thought it was cute when she said when Robin came into the family, she would say, put her foot down and she would stand up for stuff. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that was a possibility. It wasn't a possibility for you, Christine. The reason why you didn't know it was a possibility is because it wasn't a possibility for you. If you'd have put your foot down, you would have got put out. Okay? It wasn't a possibility for you because Cody didn't respect you as a partner. And again, I realize that's kind of cold-blooded to say, but it's true. Like, you know what I mean? It's true. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to be honest. It's true. He just didn't respect her as a partner. So no, it doesn't matter that Cody all of a sudden is trying to talk to these women and he's friends with them and they're doing all this and making all kinds of sacrifices. He don't care. He don't respect your time anyway. So what difference do it make if you sacrificing time? If you're not paying attention to your kids, he don't respect you or your kids. So what difference do it make if you putting your kids aside and doing all these things that you shouldn't be doing because you're trying to connect with him? So, I mean, I just think that's where it is. You know? But again, like I don't know. It's a weird place because, and this is why I'm not a big fan of like the whole, you know, trying to make the OG3 like kids or whatever, or naive and they don't know. Like, because at the end of the day, you feel like a bully telling them the truth. You feel like a bully because I'm saying that, you know, Cody should be treating you better and you should demand that he treat you better. No, don't say that because this isn't how they were raised and blah, blah, blah. But if I don't tell them that, or if I don't make that principled position, take that principled position, then I'm encouraging them to continue being treated the way they've been treated. All in an effort to make them not feel bad. And do you think, and my question is, do you think they would have been better off hearing this in their 20s or 30s? Or was it better for them to live a lie for 30 years and then at 50 years old, figure out that the relationship they was in was dog shit? And then they have to start over at 50, 54, 55, almost 60 years old, trying to go out and find and create love affairs and relationships. And I'm not gonna hold you, because I think that there's no time limit on when you can fall in love. I think there's no restrictions on it. I think you could be 50 years old. Hell, you could be 60, 70 years old, meet somebody in a resting home and get it on, you know, that'd be your person. But I also recognize that when you're younger, there's more opportunity just because people haven't settled down yet. People haven't entered into commitments yet. People haven't started families yet. So there's a distinct advantage to being a younger person equipped with that knowledge as opposed to being an older person who's been in relationships, who has picked up bad habits, who is carrying luggage from those previous relationships into their next relationship. And then you trying to, you know, find love at 50. It could be difficult. You know, I'm not saying the shit's impossible. Not at all. You know, but it's hard. It's harder. And I think that we have to acknowledge that. So, what is this? Hold on one second. Yeah, I agree with that. Should have been kind enough to do it so they could have more of a life with someone who did love them. You know what? And that's one of the weird things, like, because I realized that I want to say it was high school. Like when I was in high school, like sometimes, you know, because I was confronted with it. I forget the situation, but I remember thinking that and saying that to somebody. Like sometimes you gotta love somebody enough to let them go. You know, you realize that it's not working or it's not good for you or the relationship just isn't popping. Maybe that's part of the reason why I don't remember, is because it wasn't a thing where it was like, you cheating, or, you know, you put your hands on me, you whip me with that pan, I don't want to be with you no more. It wasn't nothing dramatic like that. It was just that it was a personality thing. And you just sometimes you just have to care enough about a person to let them go so that they can go find happiness. They can go find the people that they want to be with. No matter how much it may inconvenience you or make you sad, you realize that you're not the one for them. And in this case, like I said, Cody, if he would have realized, even with a bunch of kids, it would have been heartbreaking. You know, you push 6 kids into Christine, 6 into Janelle. You have 1 with Mary, and then you turn around and tell them after all that, you know what, I don't think these relationships are working. You know, but it would have been, again, you would be an ass. Like, you're not going to be a good guy doing this. But that shouldn't be the goal. The goal shouldn't be, I don't want people to think I'm a bad guy. The goal should be to do the right thing. You know, sometimes when you do the right thing, people are going to think you're a bad person. You know, they're going to think you're a bad dude because you did the right thing. The right thing is let them go. If you know that you're not committed to these women, let them go. Let them go find happiness with the people, somebody who's going to make them happy, give them the life and lifestyle that they want, be there for them the way they need them to be there for them when you know that you're not that person. And I even say that just from the respect of like the nag factor, you know, your own mental health. Why be with somebody when you know they constantly complain, I like to cuddle, I want to be with someone, I want to have this in my relationships. And you know deep down you're never going to be that person. But you know that person, that the person who does that thing is important to your partner, then that might be a time when you say to yourself, you know what, I need to let you go because I'm not going to be the person who's ever going to give you what you need. And I love you enough to where I want you to have the most out of this situation, the most out of life that you can get. And I think that that's the biggest act of love and far bigger than you sticking with somebody who you know that you're not going to make them happy, no matter what you want to do. You know, I would even say like more conventional. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. More conventionally, it could come down to something as simple as you get with somebody, you know that you don't want kids or you cannot have children, and you know that children are critical to this person. You know, sometimes you got to take a step back and say, right now, they're saying that they're okay with not having kids and they're good with that situation. But I know that that's not going to be the case. You're okay with this shit now because you're excited about the relationship now. But in 5, 10, 15 years, when your friends start having kids or, you know, their kids are graduating high school or whatever the case may be, and you don't have children, you're not only going to be resentful of the relationship, but you're going to resent me. So if that's something that's desperately important to you, then you need to get with somebody who can give you the thing that you want and the thing that you need. And it's not, you know, I'm a horrible person, you're a horrible person, that's why we're breaking up. No, you just need to be with somebody who's you're more compatible with. And again, that's, to me, that's an act of love to recognize that and put, you know, even to the point where you're putting your feelings aside. You're going to be inconvenienced. But that would also require you actually love that person. But hey, Lizzie B in the house. What's going on? I saw Caramel Cuties here as well. Oh, Allison Gaines. My ex told me when I was 15, how can I respect you if you're not respecting yourself? Oh, that's crazy. Because actually, I used to tell my daughter that, you know, like the cold hard truth about men, you know. And I guess technically, I need to start sharing that with my son because it's applicable both ways. But the one hardcore truth about men is that men will respect you as much as you respect yourself, for the most part. Like, just as a rule of thumb. You know, fair ain't got shit to do with it. Right and wrong ain't got shit to do with it. I wish I could say you could rely on their good character. They're going to treat you right because they should treat everybody right. But, you know, for the most part, men will respect you as much as you respect yourself. If they think or perceive that you disrespect yourself, then they have no problem jumping on the bandwagon. And unfortunately, again, this isn't about fairness. This isn't about like what's right. It's just kind of like how to operate and navigate the world. Because if you go to work situations, you go to a workplace and you have usually it's a relatively younger crowds, employees, fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, in professional settings, and they treat the shit like a frat house. Guys can sit around. And again, this isn't fair. This isn't right. It's very misogynistic. But guys can sit around at the workplace and have all kinds of sexually charged conversations, and nobody's going to look at those guys any different. You might look at them like they pigs and idiots, but for the most part, it might not affect their careers, might not affect their career trajectories and their ability to get promotions. If a woman sat in that same spot amongst those guys and started talking about what she was doing on Friday and how she wanted to climb up and down the guy in the copy room, bang out in the mail room or whatever, those men, again, unfortunately, would look at her different. And it could affect her ability to get promotions. It could affect her ability to be able to navigate those professional situations in those careers, because the guys could affect the way the guys talk to her. You know, she's sitting there having a conversation with a guy, trying to tell him like, this is what we need to do for work, and I need you to go down there and do XYZ assignment, blah 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 blah. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow, your shirt is kind of tight today. Boo, must be breezy. And you'll get those kind of comments because you had one conversation with them before there was a little sexually charged. And it's just, it's again, this isn't the way it should be speech. This is the understanding how it works speech that I would get, you know. What is this? They're watching. I love it. They're watching. Been there, done that. You're either a slut or a tease, and you're not their professional equal. Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, that's just the way it kind of works. It's the way it works. I remember story time. There was a woman I knew, right? This is early on. And she was a supervisor, and it came out like well, first and foremost, she's a supervisor. Everybody who was a subordinate to her was terrified of this woman. Terrified. You know, she wasn't older. She was relatively young, but she was older than the people who were subordinates. But they were terrified of her ass. Terrified. She was scary. Oh, here she come. Here she come. I'm not gonna say her name. Here she come. Oh no. But then it came out that she had been sleeping with one of her subordinates. And after that happened, and this is just an example, after that came out, because you know, loose lips sink ships, and dude was kind of an idiot. Which, if you're gonna do stuff, don't do it. If you gonna mess around at work, don't mess around with idiots. But he started telling people like, "Yo, this is what's going on," blah blah blah. He started spreading around that he was doing it, and which was dumb to me. But if you get it, what are you telling people for? Be happy with yourself. But he went and told everybody. Then, from like, it was night and day how they treated her. They went from being terrorized to all of a sudden you got the meek, mild, quiet ass, humpty ass, dumpty, nerd ass dude sitting there talking to her and said something like I think he was walking past her and he said, "Oh, my shoes was untied and it was flopping on my feet, you know, probably because my shoes too big." And you know what they say about guys with big shoes who got big feet. And she had to stop him and say, what did they say? You can see by her demeanor, like, dude was out of there. If he'd have kept going, he was out of there. Right. But it's the fact that he felt comfortable enough to say this shit to her. The fact he felt comfortable enough and he felt like she had been diminished so much that he could even part his mouth to say this shit. 2 weeks ago, he wouldn't even speak to her. He wouldn't even look her in the face because he was so intimidated by her. But when he found out that little piece of information, all of a sudden the whole shit changed. And that's one of the things that I think, one of the burdens that's unfair that women in workplaces have to carry. Because you could have a job where the men could be knocking off every secretary in the place. You could have stores where the store manager is in there knocking off cashiers like dominoes, just taking them down, just bang, 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 bang. And nobody says shit. It doesn't affect their professionalism. It doesn't affect their career. Nobody is looking at them like, oh, he a chump ass dude because he's messing with a bunch of barely 18 young ladies and he's in his fucking 40s. Nobody's doing that. But the second you have a woman who's in her, like, how was she? I think she was in her late 20s, and the guy was in his early to mid 20s, and they were close together. And it was an age appropriate relationship, traditionally what they call age appropriate relationships. And you find out they doing that. All of a sudden, she getting wild ass comments. She tell people to do stuff, and she got to have one of the male counterpart supervisors standing with her to back her up. Like all of a sudden, she's no longer that person. Is it right? Hell no. But it's just it's the state of affairs. So yeah, when I say that, that's one of the things I talk about. Like, as far as like workplace etiquette. Another thing that really made that stand out to me, men respect you as much as you respect yourself. Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was cheating on his wife, he lost all that money. A little sex capades cost him $1 billion. but when he was out there messing with them women, there was one woman, and I never forget it. This is Tiger Woods, billionaire ass athlete Tiger Woods. And he went over to this one woman's house and he took her ass half a Subway sandwich. Not a Subway sandwich meal. So she didn't get the drink or the cookie or the potato chips. She got half a Subway sandwich. He dropped her ass off a half a Subway sandwich. So she didn't even get a foot long. She got a 6-incher, right? And a foot long was like, I think at the time was $5. $5 foot long was a commercial. So she got $2.50. And she banging, she doing everything this dude wanted to do. And and it occurred to me, I was like, the true tragedy of this situation is the next guy to date her. He gonna be looking at that shit. How you gonna try to get me to get you a Happy Meal at McDonald's, a number one, or like that CEO sitting there eating a $12 hamburger from McDonald's? How you gonna get me to pay for that? And I'm actually single and willing to commit to you. Tiger Woods brought you over $2.50. That's not even you. In some places, you can't even get on the bus for $2.50. If you get on the bus, you damn sure ain't getting no transfers. You ain't getting a trizzy. So you get a one ride. So, but if these women had, like, and in that case with Tiger Woods, if these women had standards, y'all could have made out like fat cats. If you just want to run on the fact that he was famous, I have the privilege of screwing a famous guy and saying I slept with him. If you actually would have did some things, you could have retired. You should have been in a position to retire. You should not be working at Hooters by date 2. You should not be working at Hooters anymore. Again, and if he offers you a $2.50 sandwich and he asks to come over to your house and you let him come, then guess what? Next week, he's not going to offer you a $5 sandwich. He might try to come with a pack of Now and Laters. This is Carmel Kitties. I had a similar thing happen to me, but I was 19. I begged him to stay, and he said the same thing. It didn't fully hit me until a year later that I wasn't respecting myself. No way he would ever. Yeah, if you don't respect yourself, you set the precedent and the ground rules of how you are to be treated in your relationships. You train people on how to treat you. Let's just say, Karma Cuties continues, said, come to find out I dodged a bullet. He's on his third wife now. Damn. Cheated in every relationship he's ever been in. The old saying is right. If you stay after they cheat, they will never be faithful to you. No, I don't think so. Well, because then too, like, one of the things with cheating, and I even say this, especially if you're the side dude, side chick, or the mistress, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. If I'm in a relationship and I have a main person and you're my supplemental person, and my main person, even if they leave, I've never really had a relationship with you as a main person, just me and you. So it's kind of built into our relationship that I'll always have somebody else. When you have somebody like that same mentality, when you have somebody who's cheating and they're with you and with several other people or whatever, living the single life because they for the streets, when they live in that life, you're asking them to abandon a key feature of your relationship. Because if I'm cheating on you the whole time, it's never been a situation where it's just the two of us. I hope I'm making sense there. I'm feeling a little wonky, but I think that's kind of where it's at. So yeah, if they, maybe take them back once and try it, I guess. But like you breaking up and coming back and breaking up, coming back after a while, if I'm with you and I cheat on you 4 times and you find out each time I'm cheating on you that I'm cheating on you and you keep taking me back, you need to stop breaking up with me for cheating. That's how I feel about it. At that point, you can't break up with me for cheating no more. Because that's part of our relationship. After the 4th, 5th time, you shouldn't even be checking my phone no more. Hell, should be able to come in there and just tell you. Going over to Mary house, going over to Barbara house, going over to Susie crib. See you tomorrow. What are we lying for? That, or, I'm going to work, wank. They're watching. Right or wrong, I always pay for my own meal because I never wanted a man to think I owed him anything. I get that. I always tell my kids, make sure you something that was told to me, something that I've definitely heard fathers share with especially their daughters. You go out on dates, you take money with you. You take money. Back in the day, you always insist that they have quarters. So if you need to make a phone call, you can make a phone call. You got to call me. You call my ass up, and I'm on my way. That's how my parents used to do us. Like, make sure you always got money so you could, if you need to call us, you could call us. You need to catch a cab or something, you can, catch that cab. Don't go places that you can't afford, that you can't pay for. You get in an argument before the bill come, and they want to jump up and talk about, oh, just split the check. Cool, split the damn check. You cool. I was thinking the same thing, right? Have that ability, that power. I would say one of the features that my lady and I had, especially when we first started dating, that I always thought was interesting is that she always insisted that who paid would always come down to who asked or who idea it was. And that was like when we first started going out, right? So I would, you try to do the machismo thing, like I got it, right? But she's like, no, if I ask you to go somewhere and we go to the dinner at such and such place, I got it. It's me. If I ask her to go somewhere, it's me. Or, we take turns or whatever the case may be. Or it's not even a thing of like, because even then, what I liked about that feature is that even from the very beginning, it set the stage, and even though talking about what Carmel Cuties was saying, it sets the stage where we had already started acting as a partnership. So where it wasn't a thing where this is all me and only me. It started out, this is us. And so when we go out, we go out. And it doesn't matter who's paying. We're going to have a good time. And it doesn't come down to we can only have a good time if I'm willing to pay for it or something I'm willing to do. If she wanted to do something, she want to go see a movie, she got her own money. She can go see the movie she want to. And from that respect, I have the privilege of going with her. Right? And vice versa. Like it set the stage, I think, early on. And I never really thought about it till just now. It just hit me. That was one of the things that we did early on that I think set the stage where we were more of partners as opposed to like she owes me or I owe her or whatever the case may be. Yeah, but always be able to take care of yourself. And I definitely would say that, like, especially with my kids now, like you go somewhere and you need to get picked up, I'd rather you call me and you doing the wrong shit and you call me up and say, Dad, I need to get scooped because things are going left. I don't want to be here no more, whatever. I'll come get you. And we could talk about whatever it is in the morning, but I want you safe. So you call me up, I'll come scoop you. No fuss, no muss, no hassles, no arguments, no questions. I got you. And if it's something I need to talk to you about in the morning or whatever, we could do that. But, don't ever, my whole thing has always been, don't go somewhere and feel trapped. Like you have to do something, or, even to their watching point, like where you're kind of indebted to them. Because some of these jokers do, like, it's a weird thing. Some of these jokers take that shit serious. Because they think they like, yeah, you go to a restaurant because they bought you a little something to eat. Give a number 7, especially if you order off the menu in numbers. All of a sudden, I gotta go home with you. Like what? What? If I can order my meal, a whole meal, using a number, that doesn't. I don't think I'm required to go home with you. That's crazy. I don't think if you go to somewhere fancy, that should be the case. But holy smokes. What was this? Allison Gaines. So I picked my son and his friends up at the bar when they got too drunk. The girl had just had a baby. It was her first time out. Yeah. Sometimes, you know how that shit go. Had that baby, be like, it's been a while. It's been a long time. You out there dancing every song, shaking your tail feathers. And part of you is like, I ain't never going to get out again. I make the most of the night. I appreciate the fact that, just having a common sense that if you get too drunk, like I'd rather you call me with that than them had a Barry show up at my door knocking on my shit at 3 a.m. I'd rather get out of bed and come pick your ass up at 3 than be down at the morgue trying to identify bodies at 3, 3, 4 o'clock, having difficult conversations. So I mean, good on you. Especially, like I said, just make them feel like, I always want to create an environment where they feel like they can call me. If there's an issue, they feel like they know they can call me. And like I said, I'm gonna talk to them especially if it's some wild shit going on that I might not approve of. I'm definitely gonna talk to them about it. Like if you hanging out in a house full of gangsters, yeah, we definitely gonna have a conversation about it. Because I care about you. but I also care about you enough to where I want you safe. Because the whole objective to the game is I want to be able to have the opportunity and environment to be able to talk to you about it. If that makes sense. And if I make you too scared to call me because you're afraid I'm going to get upset and I'm going to yell, then, you know, and also too, like, don't be afraid of me getting mad or feeling a certain kind of way. I'm sorry, I'm spacing out. Karma Cutie said, I don't care. I tell my daughter, I don't care what time of night it is, call me. I may cuss you out, but I'm gonna come get you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you might. I'm not saying that's the thing too, Karma Cutie. Good point. I'm not even saying that it's gonna be a peaceful ride home. Like, I might have some slick shit to say, but everybody gonna be safe. You understand what I mean? Especially you call my ass up and I'm not getting any sleep. I just get to sleep. And you buzzing me up. Yeah, I'm coming to get you. I might not show up smiling, clicking my heels and tap dancing and shit, but I'm coming, you know. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, just so we're clear. Like, that's my big thing. Just so we're clear, this ain't no Disney Channel shit, no Nickelodeon. You out there fake IDing it, going into the bar, you coming out smashed to pieces. Come and get me. I come pick you up. And I'm like, I'm just glad you called. No, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna talk about it. Because I need you to protect yourself, you know. And that's the thing too. Like, that's also part of that would make me, because that's always been, I'm gonna have to let you guys go after this because I can feel it. But that's always kind of been one of my things too, is that key for me is, especially you making, like, maturing and making decisions for yourself, is your ability to be able to protect yourself. And you protecting yourself isn't just about you being able to do things independently, but having enough common damn sense to recognize that when you in over your head or when you need help. So if you at a bar and you had too much to, you know, you bent the elbow a little bit too much, things got out of hand. Maybe you was there drinking some stuff you're not necessarily familiar with because it's not your OG standby. It's the all of a sudden somebody like, try this. What's this? This is Alabama Slammer. This is a kamikaze. This is a Jägermeister. This is you know, iced tea, Long Island iced tea. I like tea, you know, and you have 5 or 6 of them, and next thing you know, you barely know who you are. You taking care of yourself is you calling me up and saying, yo, I'm in trouble. I need a ride home. That's you looking out for yourself and being smart. You know, that's the kind of stuff I like to see, you know. So if you get tanked up, I'd rather you take care of yourself and call and ask for a ride as opposed to you just trying to take it upon yourself to try to drive your ass home, you know, and you wipe out a minivan full of like a family or whatever, or you just hurt yourself. You run into a damn telephone pole and you hurt yourself, you know, because either way, it's not going to be a good, you know, I'm not going to be good either way. If you get hurt, I'm not going to be good. So I'd rather miss some sleep and be frustrated that way than sitting up crying at night, talking about, I wish they would have called me. Why ain't they call me? Why ain't they feel comfortable and call me? But yeah, I'm gonna have to let you guys go. But before I do, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who left the speak pipe. We had Rose, Tanya Carter had called in too, and she was just asking how I was doing. Thank you so much, Tanya. I appreciate it. I'm still around, live and kicking. You know, maybe not as high as I was, but I'm coming back. We had Linda. Oh, wait. Linda didn't leave a speak pipe, but Linda was here with a happy birthday. I want to give her happy birthday wishes. Hold on 1 second. Give Linda happy birthday wishes. And then we had Mary and Anon and Rose for the speak pipes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate that. Yeah. But I appreciate that. We'll be doing a live tomorrow. We'll do a live tomorrow so I can get some calls and stuff, get you guys' perspectives and opinions. But thank you guys so much. And before we go, we got to do the hearts in the chat. Get some hearts in the chat for Jody Periscala, Carmel Cuties, Megatron, Miss Betty, Kathy Ferran, Allison Gaines, Marlo Peterson. Gonna put some hearts in the chat for Linda and her birthday, as well as I had hearts in the chat earlier. I'm blanking. 1 second. Got my thing. Yeah, on the upside, I have some. Hopefully, I'll be able to get my studio right. And team, yeah, let's get some hearts in the chat for and team too. Add her to the list. Well, yeah, let's get some hearts in the chat for those folks. Appreciate it. It's just a way for us to support each other as we go through some life changes and things of that nature. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me. I will be around tomorrow. And we will be reconnected. We'll be doing some call-ins then. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. That's my take. I'm James, and this has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic evening and a rest of your morning. Good night.